1.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, GHA family and friends. We are back with another homework helper for 5th grade. Today, this is lesson 4 homework. So I'm going to read the directions and then we're going to get started. So it says, circle each expression that is not equivalent to the expression in bold. So as it shows on your paper inside your book, they wrote 37 times 19 and they wrote it horizontally. So first things first, we need to solve it. So we're going to use our standard algorithm to solve it first. And then we can look over our other expressions and see if they are equal or not. So first we have 37 times 19, and they wrote it horizontally in your book. So we're going to solve it vertically. So let's go. All right. So we start off by taking the 9 and multiplying it by everything we see up top. So we have 9 times 7, which is 63. We have to put our 3 down, carry the 6. Now we're doing 9 times 3, which is 27, plus 6 gives us 33. All right, now we can move over to the 1. So we have our 0 spacer. So anything times 1 is itself, right? So 1 times 7 is 7. And then we have 1 times 3 is 3. Our last step is to add these two partial products together. Now I'm saying partial products because that's going to come in handy as we move forward in these lessons. So we have 3 plus nothing, 3 plus 7, which is 10, and we have to carry our 1. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 leaves us with 7. So we have 703. So that's what this expression is equal to. All right, so now we can immediately look at our choices here. Our first choice is 37/19. I'm going to write it right here, even though you have it in the book. So whenever we have a number next to a unit or another number that is written in words, we know we need to multiply, and they already let us know that. So this is the same thing as saying 37/19s, or if you want to flip it, you can say 1937s. Either way, with multiplication and addition, no matter how you flip it, you'll have the same answer, okay? So we would not circle this because it is equal or equivalent to 37 times 19. So I'll get rid of that one. Now we get to some more difficult expressions. So we have 30 times 19 minus 7 times 29. So we take our 30 times 19, we put it in the parentheses, and we're looking for the difference of 7 29s. So in order to solve this, we need to, well, no, actually we don't have to solve this in order to figure out if it's equivalent. Here we go. So we have our 30 and we have our 7. That's supposed to equal 37, except we're subtracting. So 30 minus 7, not 30 plus 7. So right there, immediately that lets you know this is not equal or not equivalent. But let's solve anyway. Okay, so we got 30 times 19. 9 times 0, we know anything times 0 is 0. 9 times 3 is 27. All right, we put our 0 spacer, and then we take our 1 and multiply by 0, and then we know anything times 1 is itself. So we have 1 times 3 is 3. Our last step is to add these together. 0 plus 0, and 7 plus 0, and 2 plus 3. So we have 570. Well, we know when we did our original expression or equation, we came up with 703. So now we don't even have to solve this part. We don't even have to solve 7 times 29 because we know whatever we're subtracting from this is never going to be this. So for this second expression right here, we would circle it. Okay? Circle that whole thing, and let's move to the next one. Okay, so the next one says 37 times the difference of 20 and 1. So let me write that down for you. 37 times the difference of 20 and 1. All right, so here we can go ahead and bring our 37 down and our multiplication sign. Now we need to solve what's inside of the parentheses. So what is 20 minus 1? We know 20 minus 1 is 19. Does that look like our original expression? It does. So that means we would not circle this one because it is equivalent. Equivalent, okay? Now I'm going to get rid of this one. The last one we have for number 1A is 40 minus 2, or the difference of 40 and 2, times 19. So here we have 40 minus 2 in parentheses, and after we're done with that, we're going to multiply it by 19. All right, so let's solve what's inside of the parentheses. We got 40 minus 2. 40 minus 2 leaves us with 38. And we're multiplying by 19. We'll go ahead and bring that down. So, is that going to be equivalent to 37 times 19? No, it's slightly off because we have 37, but we know this part of our equation comes to 38. So 38 times 19 will be more than 37 times 19. So we would circle this whole thing. Circle this expression because it's not equivalent. All right? So for each one of those, you want to solve in standard algorithm so that you can get an answer. Other than that, some of them you may have to solve, some of them you will not have to solve. Some of them you'll be able to look at immediately and you'll be able to see, oh, this is not this equation, or it's going to be less, or it's going to be greater than, okay? All right, I'm going to move on to number 2 and give some extra follow-up examples for number 2. So it says solve using mental math. Then you're going to draw a tape diagram, but even though it's already drawn for you, then we're going to fill in the blanks to show our thinking. All right, so let's look at number 2A. It says 19 times 50. If you were in class, then you will be familiar with this. 19 times 50 was blank, all right? So it says blank 50s. So we already have our 50s accounted for in words. We already have our 50s accounted for. And what is this like saying? 19 times 50 is like saying 19 50s. So if we already have the 50s, we know exactly what goes in the blank right here. 19. Okay? All right, so now it says to think 20 50s minus 150. Think 20 50s minus 150. Okay? So after we do that step, we can go ahead and create our equation. So we're going to put a parenthesis around our first part. It's going to be, if it says think 20 50s, then we got to put our 20 50s. What's the same thing as saying 20 50s? That's the same thing as saying 20 times 50. And we can close that parenthesis, okay? Now, we're going to add a plus sign here because, well, actually, I'm sorry, we're going to add a minus right here, subtraction symbol right there, okay? Because we got to make 19, but we started with 20. So what are we going to subtract to make 19? We're going to subtract 1 from 20 to make 19. So we can put a 1 here. It says think 20 50s minus, so we have our 20 times 50 minus 150. So if we have 150, that's like multiplying 50 by 1. So now that you have this as part of your equation, we can go down to the next line. So here, we're going to solve each problem that's in our parentheses. Okay? So we have 20 times 50. And we know how to multiply numbers like this by doing our non-zero numbers, 5 and 2. 5 times 2 leaves us with 10. And then we have to count our zeros in the equation. So we have 1, 2 zeros. So 20 times 50 is 1,000. And then over here, we have 1 times 50. And we know anything times 1 is itself. So 50 times 1 is going to be 50. Now we need to subtract because we have to keep track of our symbols. Okay? So 1,000 minus 50 leaves us with what? you actually, in your book, it's gonna look like that down there. It's one blank down at the bottom. So 1,000 minus 50. If you need help, I'll write it down right here. 1,000 minus 50. And I'm writing it vertically as we always do so that we can solve. So 0 minus 0 leaves us with 0. We can't take 5 from nothing, so we have to go and borrow. When we went next door, nobody was home. So we went to the next person's house and we borrowed something. So they have nothing left. We gave the neighbors 10. Then we still had to borrow. So we took some from that neighbor, left them with 9. Now we have 10 over here. 10 minus 5 leaves us with 5. 9 minus nothing, we still have 9. So 1,000 minus 50 leaves us with 950. All right? So this is what you need to put down here, 950. Each time they're going to tell you what to think. You're going to use this line right here to help you fill in your blanks for the rest of the equation. Okay? All right, have a good evening.